The number can be of 3 or 4 or 5. Yes, please. Sorry, your voice is not clear to me. Hello. So we have this question. C++ program to find the average of n using for loop. Okay. So the question says that user will enter some numbers, n numbers, you can say n numbers, and this n number can be anything. Let's say user has entered 5 numbers, 6 number or 10 numbers. The number can depend on user. The user can depend what can enter whatever the number he or she choose. Okay, so let's say user enter 5 numbers. So what our next task is to find the average of n number. So in general, how do we find the average of numbers? We just find the sum of the numbers divided by the count of the numbers. Let's say we have taken the 5. So let's say user has entered 5 plus 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, so these are 5 numbers. So the sum of these numbers is equals to 20, right? And how many numbers they have, or she has entered 5 numbers, so we will divide it by 5 and then it is going to give 15. So this is termed as average of 5 numbers, right? So now our program is just the same. We need to find the average of n numbers, and in this case the n can be anything. The user can enter 5 number or 6 number or 10 numbers. It totally depends on the user. Okay, so we will ask the user to first of all set a value of n. So let's suppose we need to create the flow chart first of all for this program. So we have this symbols right side. So what the process we are going to do? First of all, I will ask the user to enter value of number, or you can say how many numbers are there, or how many numbers you want to enter, how many numbers you want to enter. Okay, so this type of message will first of all come to the user, and then I will take the value of n. So let's say user wants to enter 10 values, so I will take an input of value n, and then I'll create a for loop for what? Because I need to find the sum of all 10 numbers, right? Just say the user enters 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, whatever it can enter the 10 numbers. So what I need to do is I need to find the first value and then sum it with 5, then again whatever the result, we have result 9 here, so again 9 plus 6, 9 plus 6 is equals to 15, so again I need to plus 7. Then this process will continue up to the value of n, right? So here we need to write, if I am going to declare a variable called you may say I, and I is going to be 1. Why 1? Because user is going to enter some numbers. So let's suppose user has choose to enter 10 numbers. In that case I need to take the input from the user one by one, right? So first number will be entered by the user, then second number, then third number, then fourth number, then fifth, up to 10th number, right? So that's why I have initialized this one. So at the condition of 1 I will take the first value, then in the second value, then third value, then fourth value, then fifth value, right? So that's why I have declared for I is equals to 1. Now how many times I need to continue this process? 1 up to 10, right? So I should be less than whatever the value is on I should be less than or equals to n, right? Because we have 1 including this 10. So I value for the first time will be 1, and this process should continue up to 10. So that's why I have less than or equals to n. Now here we can see that we have incremented the value 1 2 3 4 5, right? So we can clearly see that this process is going to be continue in incrementing order one by one. So I will create I is equals to I plus 1. Is that simple? Okay, okay. So now next, we need to find the value of sum of numbers, right? Let's suppose user has entered 5 numbers, 5 plus 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So I need to first of all find the sum of these values and then need to divide the count of numbers. So here we have 5 numbers, so I will divide it by 5, right? So I am going to declare a variable called sum, which is going to be initialized with 0. Now sum is equals to sum plus whatever the value will be entered by the user. I am going to save that or plus that. So let's suppose I will first ask the user to enter some value. Okay, okay, okay. I think you have missed. I think you haven't seen the from the starting, right? Okay, okay, okay. Let me explain one more time. Okay, so the question is C++ program to find the average of n numbers, right? N numbers means the user can enter whatever the value they want. Let's say user has chooses to enter 5 numbers. So the n value will be 5, right? So user is going to enter 5 different numbers. It can be anything. Let's say user has entered 4 9 3 2 1 one by one, okay? So user can choose these 5 numbers, can be anything, right? If the user chooses to enter 5 numbers, then I need to ask the user to enter 5 numbers one by one, right? Let's say n value is equals to 10, which basically means that user is going to enter 10 numbers, and that 10 numbers can be anything like 3 4 2 9 7 6 5 4. It can be anything, right? So the first thing which I came to know about is that I need to know the n value, right? Because we cannot decide it that how many times I need user input. The user is going to input some value. So the first thing I came to know about is that I need to have the value of n, right? So I have to know the value of n. So for that case, I am going to declare a variable called num n, and I will simply ask the user see out how many numbers you want to enter, right? How many number you want to enter. So I will just simply see in n. So this is going to initialize the n value. Let's say user has chooses to enter 7 numbers. So n value will be 7. Now my next task is to ask the user to enter number one by one. How many times? 7 times. Because the user has entered the value of n is equals to 7. Let's say suppose user has chooses to enter 5 numbers. Then how many I need the user to ask for a number? 5 times, right? So in the same way we can think of this that we need to use a for loop. Why? Because we are going to ask the user again and again to enter some value, right? So for that condition I can use for loop. But now the question arises is that what do I enter inside this for loop? Let's say user has chooses 5. then how many I need to ask the user? 5 times. So it means I need to have a loop which will go from 1 to 5, right? It means that the user need, I have a for loop which will go from 1 to 5. Let's say suppose user has entered 10. Sorry? We need to, so we need to have a for loop which will go from 1 to 10, right? Let's say user suppose enter 20 numbers. He or she wants to enter 20 numbers. Then what will be the 1 to 20? The for loop should go 1 to 20. Okay, okay. Yes, we need to initialize. We need to initialize a variable. Let's say take the variable as I, or I am going to initialize it with 1, right? And I should be less than or equals to what? Mm-hmm. Okay, so nothing will happen. I need to have a condition like that, so that the user, if the user will enter 5, so the 5 times need to be asked by the user. 5 times. So let's say user has entered 1. Let's say user has chooses to be and to be entered 5 numbers. Then I can go for I is less than or equals to 5, right? Sorry. Hello. Yes, yes, I can hear you now. Yes, yes. Yeah, please. Mm-hmm. Okay, so your question is, if I initialize with 2, what will happen, right? Is this your question? Mm-hmm. So nothing will happen. We have chosen here integer value, and these numbers are under integer value, right? So the same thing happens, just like 5 plus 3 plus 4. In the same way, these numbers are going to be saved or some value. So this is not a problem. We can enter whatever the value we want. Uh-huh. So if, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, 1000. Okay, okay. Okay, okay, I understand. If what will happen if I enter some big numbers, right? So if it is come under the integer range, integer range, then we are good to go for it. But if the sum value is going to have some big numbers, then we need to define big integer, or you can say long integer. So for now we are not going to see that because we haven't learned about long integer, right? So for now we will think of this as, mm-hmm, No, your network is too bad actually. Wait. Haha, wait. Your network is too bad actually. Your voice is. Can you text me? Can you text me in the chat box? Because your question is not clear to me. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to ask that what will happen if user will not. Okay. Let me explain this. Suppose whatever the program we are developing, whatever the software, whatever the program we are developing, we have a set of mind first of all to be set, right? That what the program will be, some this definitely same, and each and every program has some limitations, right? Each and every program, suppose I have developed a software which is going to be useful for me, but it is not going to be useful for you, right? In the same way, we are writing the program for integer value only. It is not going to fulfill our float type values. Let's say user has entered 2.3, right? It, the user can enter because we haven't restricted, we haven't any exception there, we haven't shown any error, right? So we have some kind of limitations in my mind, then we can only develop our program, right? So for now I am taking the user to enter only integer value, not floating value, right? In the same way, I am expecting some input type, right? I am expecting input integer only, not long integer. Yes. Because let's say user has entered 4 3 2 9 8 7 6, which is not under in long integer as well as not in integer, right? So these type of silly mistakes user can do. So this is what we call as our limitations of program. So as for, we are just the beginner in programming, that's why I am considering only integer value for now. So this is what we can term this as a limitations for our program. It is only going to accept integer value. So we have to declare, like already said that we need. Mhm. We need to have a float or double value plus long value. We need to figure out these type of things. And if say user has entered some big value bigger than, out of the range of float or long, then we need to go for an array in which we can store the value entered by the user. So these kind of things can happen, but every program has some limitations, and this is our program limitation. It is going to accept only integer value. So for now I am going to start from 1, and if user has entered 5, that means the for loop should go from 1 to 5, right? If the user has entered 10, then the for loop should go 1 from 10. If user has entered 6, so then the for loop should go from 1 to 6, right? So we can clearly say that whatever the value of n is, our program is going to be end here, right? So that's why I will write here n. I should be less than or equals to n. And we are now incrementing the value of I. That's why I have written I plus plus. Okay. 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 Now my next task is to take the input from the user. So I will create a variable called number, so that I can ask the user to enter some number and then can take the value of this, right? Cout, enter your number. And now in number. And here I am going to do sum is equals to sum plus number. And here I will declare the value of number. Okay. Are you getting this point why we are doing here sum is equals to sum plus number? No, no, no. N is not our number. Let's see the output first. Let's see the output first. I think there is some misconception behind this. Let's say first of all I will ask the user. This is my output box, or you can say monitor. I will first ask the user how many numbers are there, or how many numbers you are going to enter, right? So let's say user has entered 5. Okay, so this 5 will be go to n variable. Now I will ask the user to enter the number one by one, right? So I will ask enter your number, enter your number. So let's say user has entered 2, then again the same message, and user has entered 3, then again the same message, or user has entered 9, 5 and 4, let's say. So the user has entered all the 5 numbers one by one, right? So we have two variables, one to store the how many numbers are there, and one again number. This number is going to store the value of entered by the user one by one. Yes, yes. For the first time number value will be 2. But when the user will enter second number, the number will be updated to 3. Then again now this number variable is going to updated by 9. Right? So we have to use two variables. Okay. And now is this line is clear to you? Number is equals to sum plus number. Why we are doing here? Why? Can you explain this? Let me explain this. Okay, okay. So for the first time some value will be 0, right? Some value will be 0. Let's say user has entered these numbers one by one. So the first yeah, we need to declare here sum is equals to 0. Yes, I'll do that. Okay, so for the first time sum is equals to 0, right? For let's say user has entered first number. So what the value of sum is equals to 0. So 0 plus 4. So the sum value will be updated by what? 4. Right? Let's say user has entered second number now. So what is the value of sum? Sum value is equals to 4. So 4 plus 3. It is going to return 7. So sum value will be updated with 7. Now the user has entered third number. So sum value is what? Already 7. 7 plus 9. Yes. So this way this loop will going to be continue, right? That's why I have write sum is equals to sum plus number. Sum is equals to sum plus number. And now after coming after, when we have the all values of sum, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, yes, yes. Why we are doing so? Is this your question? Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes. Because I need to take the input from the user one by one, right? So I need to have a loop which will start from 1 and go up to the number n, because user has chooses to enter 10 numbers. So I will ask the user 10 times to enter, right? So this is going to run 10 times. So that's what this condition is all about. Huh? Sum is equals to sum plus I. So I value is going to enter 1 2 3. Let's try run this program first of all. I think that will be more clear to you. Let's say use now I need to print the average. So I need to again have a average variable like float is equals to, let me just trial run this program, then it will be more clear to you. We need to have a variable name. Sorry, it's my mistake. Yes, yes, it is a variable. Yeah, yeah. Now let's try run this program first of all. This is my memory. This is my memory. And this is my output window. Okay? Okay. So when the program will get started to run, how many variables are there? We have n, number, sum. Okay, so three variables will be created: n, number, and sum. We have only initialized sum with 0, so this value will be going to be initialized with 0. Now we have a cout statement. How many numbers you want to enter? So this will be shown in our output window. How many number you want to enter? Let's say user has entered some value, let's say 5. Okay, So this 5 is going to initialize with this n, right? So n will going to initialize with 5, isn't it? So we have n here, not n number. Now for int I is equals to 1. So we again have declared one more variable I, which is going to initialize with 1, right? And we are testing here our condition. I is less than or equals to n. So I value is 1. 1 is less than or equals to n. What is the value of n? It is 5. So yes, it is less than or equals to 5. So this is going to enter inside this. Now again one variable int number. So we already have declared this number here. So we can skip this part, because we already have declared this number, right? So the message will come out from the pop-up, enter your number. Okay, so a message will be shown to the user, enter your number, enter your number. So let's say user has entered 3. Okay, so this number variable is going to initialize with what? 3, right? Now we are doing sum is equals to sum plus number. So sum value currently is 0. So 0 plus whatever the value number, this is 3. So 0 plus 3 is going to calculate it as 3, and this 3 is going to store inside this sum, right? So this sum is going to initialize with 3. This 0 value has gone now. Right? After completing all the part, it is again going to initialize I plus plus, right? So I plus plus means I is equals to 2. So 2 is again less than or equals to 5, right? So it is again going to ask to enter one more number, enter your number. Let's say user has entered this time 5. So this 5 is going to initialize with this number, right? This value has gone now. So again sum is equals to sum plus number. So whatever the sum value, we have 3. So 3 plus what is the value of number now? It is 5. So 3 plus 5, it is going to 8, right? And this 8 value is going to store inside this sum value, right? Again the same process. Again I plus plus, it is going to initialize with 3 now, right? So again 3 is less than or equals to 5. So it is again going to ask some numbers, enter your number. Let's say user has entered again 2 here. Okay, so value of sum is equals to sum plus number. So this 2 value will be initialized with here, and this value has gone now, 2. So 2 plus what is the sum value? 8. So 8 plus 2, is it going to be 10? So this 10 value is going to initialize with sum here, right? So again it is going to initialize the value of I plus plus, which is going to be 4. So 4 is less than or equals to 5? Yes, again. So enter your number again. Let's say user has entered 1 now. So this 1 is going to be initialized with number. So 1 will be here. Now sum value is equals to 10. So 10 plus 1, what is the value? 11. This 11 is going to initialize within this sum right now. Again I plus plus, so it is going to be 5. 5 is less than or equals to 5. Is this true or false? 5 is less than or equals to 5. Is it true or false? Is it true? It is not less than 5, but it is equal, right? So it is going to return true. So again it going to enter inside this block. Again enter your number. So let's say user has entered 10 now. So what is the value of sum? It is 11. So 11 plus 10. Num value is going to initialize with 10 first. and then we are going to calculate this part. Sum is equals to sum plus number. So sum value is 11 and the number value is currently 10. So 10 plus 11 is going to be 21, which is going to initialize with sum. So sum value is going to initialize with 21. Now again I plus plus, it is going to be 6. So 6 is less than or equals to 5. Is it true or false? False. Now this false, this basically means that this for loop is going to be stopped now, right? Now after this block, what the next statement? We have again a variable average, which is a float type. Now sum divided by n. So what is the value of sum? We have 21. So 21 divided by, what is the value of n? It is 5. So this is going to give us, right, this one 4.2. So it is going to show average is 4.2. Do you understand the program or still have any doubt? Uh-huh. Yes, I'm going to do the same. Yes, I'm going to do the same. Now we are going to create a flow chart for this. Okay, so just let me erase all of this and we are going to create a flow chart now. So I have written all the symbols of flow chart in my right side so that it will be more easy for us. Yes, it is a whiteboard. I'll write the same code in Dev C++ and will show you the output as well. No worry about that. I'm sorry. Okay. So we are going to draw the flow chart for this, right? So what we have done in our program, we have created a variable called sum, then number. 1. Okay, for loop head doesn't have any sign. Okay, we need to repeat the arrow sign so that it is going to be a for loop. There are much more symbols to this flow chart. Okay, I have just explained a few of them. There are much more symbols like this one. Mm-hmm. No. For loop especially, we don't have any symbols. Wait. Let me explain this, and you are going to see the same output wherever you have shown in on websites. Because for loop doesn't have any symbols, we are going to use the same symbols here present. Okay, so first of all, we need to have this start. Then we are going to have some variables. Sum is equals to 0. N is equal to input. Let's say for now it is going to be 0, and we have number is equals to 0. So we have one variable n to take the input how many numbers are there, and one variable number to take one by one input, right? So 4, 3, 2, whatever the value is going to be entered by the user, I am going to store inside this one by one, right? So I have declared all the variables. Now our next task, I need to ask the user to enter the value, how many numbers they want to enter, right? So for that I am going to use this input and output, a parallelogram. How many numbers you want to enter? So n value is going to initialize here, right? Yes. Okay, now I have declared a variable called n, and I have declared a variable called number, and here I will declare a variable called I. I for what? If user has entered 5 numbers, then I need to go 1 to 5, right? Remember in our program, if the user has entered 10, then I need to go from 1 to 10, right? So here I am going to test the condition. If I value is less than or equals to n, which basically means I need to go from 1 to 5, 1 to 10. I have declared all I is equals to 1. So for now, let's say user has entered 5. So 5 is greater than I means 1 is less than or equals to 5. Yes, is it true, right? So we have both. For this diagonal symbol, decision symbol, we have two options. One can be true or one can be false, right? Only two options are there. So let's say user has entered, it is going to be true. Yes. Then what I need to do? I need to do some calculation part, right? Sum is equals to sum plus, no. Before that, I need to ask the user to enter the number first of all. Yes. Yes, because I am taking the variable one by one. So that's why I need to have a window here. Enter the value of n. Enter the value of number, right? So let's say user has entered 6 for first time. Then what next I need to do? I need to do some calculation part, right? Sum is equals to sum plus number, right? And again I need to increment the value of I is equals to I plus plus, right? After doing this, I want to go again this line of code. Okay. So if it is again, if I value is going to be 1 to 10, 2 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 8, it can be anything. So if it is less than that, then it is again going to do the same procedure. Just we take an example of restaurant. In our restaurant, if I enter inside a restaurant, until I became, if I am not if I'm still hungry, then I'll again order something, right? So this process is going to be until I am not hungry. If I am hungry, I am again going to order something again and again, right? So this is the same way. If I value is less than the number value, the same procedure is going to be repeated. That's why we have used these symbols. If I is less than a number, in false condition, what I need to do? Let's say user has entered all the value one by one, right? In the next step, I am going to do, you can say, we have we have a variable called float average, and average value is going to be sum plus sum divided by n, right? And after that, I need to print the value of, we can create here so that it will be more. Print average value, and now we just need to stop this. That's it. Do we have used any other symbols for loop? So mm-hmm. Look, we have more symbols to this flow chart, just like this circle is there. So we have one or two symbols more are there, but basically these four are basic most of the time is going to be used. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's what I told you earlier. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think this program is now completely understandable by you. I mean, did you get the all concepts completely, or still have any doubt? Okay, so it's now your task to write the program for the same. I already have explained the program, but you need to write by your own. Yes. Please do so. Okay, so I